Alright, we're gonna still fighting off Vice here. I'm trying to whittle down and get rid of the other enemies here. You're gonna start to see as I've powered up most of my weapons to weapon +1. You're gonna see them start inflicting damage that is... Okay, poison all 3, that's unfortunate. I was hoping that my my beast tamer would get out of that unscathed, but unfortunately not. So because I'm running +1 weapons, at least in terms of the physical damage being dealt to some of these characters, there's a % chance that you're going to inflict an additional oh wow, that's what I'm talking about. You know, you use instill fear, so you instill terror upon an enemy, and then at the same time as you're instilling terror into the enemy, you're also proccing breach, which I don't know what breach does. Probably lowers their attack. I don't know. I'd have to look it up. So like 2 different status effects, and then all of a sudden, you know, a Cyril is shooting heavily armored dragoons and doing 200 damage with a regular shot. I mean, this game very much is... The debuffs in this game are very much worth taking the time to apply to the enemies, you know? One thing that is kind of annoying about this is in between recordings, I try to look up some statistics on, you know, different statuses that you can see in the menu, like what matters, what doesn't matter. Obviously, you know, HP is HP, attack is attack.
Vice, call off your men. You disobey orders. This man could. History will show. Vice.
What has happened to you, Vice? Essentially, Vice is saying, I'm following orders, even if I'm an evil cuck for it. Meanwhile, you didn't follow orders, which kind of makes you, like, a good character, but also you're a traitor. You didn't follow orders. So you're like a traitor to the Wallister clan, the people, because you wouldn't do what is necessary to free them, bring them into prosperity, etc.
Vice, call off your men. There is no need for this. You disobeyed orders at your own peril. Traitors! Orders? That was a call to slaughter innocents. What man could heed them?
Great question.
This man could. How are you unable to see it, Denim? History will show that our countrymen's sacrifice built our future anew. Vice.
Yeah, I don't really believe that. But, I guess I can understand it. Anyways, I didn't mention already, whatever you pick at Balma Musa, Vice does the opposite of it. So if you choose to... That was dumb. Pretty sure I just attacked my own guy there. That was stupid. Anywho, pretending I didn't do that for a second. Such a big attack. You know, when it rains shit, it just rains shit all over you, doesn't it?
A life spent hiding from soldiers. Brings back old times. After the Dark Knights attacked Goliath, we 3 hid in a deserted house near the church, waiting for the barkroom to withdraw. Our stomachs were empty, our hearts full of fear they would discover us. You swore you would never live like that again, Kashua.
Your point eludes me.
It's not too late, Kashua. Come with me. I can have you spared with a word.
Select, sir.
Denim led you. Always running, always hiding. It wearies you. I see it in your eyes. Wouldn't you rather walk in the light?
Shadow? Light? I care not. My only wish is to stand at Denham's side.
So, again, this is one of those, probably about the truest thing that you're going to hear out of any character's mouth.
You do nothing, Vice. How can you look upon the wreckage of Balma Musa and not weep with shame? We have known each other since we were children. How can you lift your sword against a friend?
Because I know that what I do is right, Kashua. I'm no murderer, but this is war. We are not playing at soldiers anymore. And I am not content to sit grousing about injustice when the means to end this suffering is within my grasp.
As you ended the suffering of so many of your countrymen in Balma Musa,
I see you place all the evils of war at my door. Tell me, what would you have done if Denham had heeded Lena? Heeded the Duke's orders in Balma Musa? What if he had chosen as I did? What then? No, stay your answer. I already know. Readily would you have joined in the slaughter, Kashua.
never. I would never.
So, fun fact that I mentioned earlier, that basically Vice picks the opposite of whatever you do. So, in this case, because we pick the good, quote-unquote, good side, he picks the evil side. You know, he chooses to jump into the slaughter. And again, Denham, if you choose the lawful side, you choose to be a part of. I don't know how actively you act in it. I've said this a couple times. I'm sort of like, do you actively take part in the slaughter? Or you're cutting babies' throats and murdering women and children, along with combatants and non-combatants, the elderly with the young? Or are you a person who's giving the orders, and because you're the one giving the order, the soldiers follow you without question? Yeah, I don't know. But basically, if you choose the opposite, then Vice chooses... His portrait, of course, changes. It doesn't look as evil. But he chooses this path of becoming not... He's not going to be involved with Balma Musa's slaughter, and he's going to join a resistance movement to try to oppose the Duke, who he considers to be immoral and evil, because you can't sacrifice the Wallisters, you know, a group of Wallisters to try to create a false flag narrative to rally your people. But which
there are many in Almorica who are as I was, blind to the truth of Balma Musa. Will you go on deceiving them? How long can you carry on such deception?
As long as need be, if we are careful. The people care nothing for truth. They need only a story they can convince themselves is true.
You are wrong. Without truth, we are lost.
There's a fair amount of
Were you quick to believe
real world truth here.
Cling to Leonard's tale. Then, as now, you believe only what you want to believe.
Yeah, so Drew's coming out. It's not great. She's not very happy with it, but what are you gonna do? And I don't know. We'll eventually get to the lawful portion of this story when I do a rewind, whatever you want to call, whatever they call this in the game. Once you beat it, it allows you to go backwards and to unlock the other stories based on whatever chapter you want to jump back to. So, for instance, when we finish the neutral story, I'll jump back to the decision between the neutral and chaotic branch of the story. And then we'll go from there until we meet up with the end portion of the story where all of the different paths lead to, and then we'll jump back to Balma Musa, unfortunately, to the point where we're going to make the choice between going chaotic and lawful, and we're going to choose the lawful path on that jump back, and then we're going to see how that affects the rest of the storyline. Because certain characters are recruitable, in the lawful path that are not recruitable in the neutral or chaotic path, and vice versa. I'm also told your alignment affects a couple other things in this game. And I don't know, because this game has been ported 3 times. It was originally on the SNES, then it was on the PSP, and now it is on more modern consoles, we'll say. PS5, PC is what I'm playing this on. And get to the point of that. Certain mechanics have hung around, certain mechanics have changed, balance has changed in the game. And unfortunately, the guides that were written on GameFAQs don't necessarily, and this is where a question mark comes up, do the guides that were written in 2011, before this game was even a fucking twinkle in anybody's eye, represent the way the game is that we're playing right now? So, example, I was reading up on this. If you are listed as a chaotic alignment, okay, your character, whatever character that be, you know, say, I don't know what any of my characters are. I don't really pay attention to that generally. We'll say, again, we'll pick Baldric here, who's up on screen right now. We'll say Baldric is Baldric is lawful, for instance, okay? I'm told that depending on his alignment, the Dark Knight abilities will either work really well against him, kind of okay, or not at all. And give you a great example of that. Allegedly, at least on the PSP version, if you use a terror ability on a lawful character, not only does it work 100% of the time, but it also creates a bigger debuff to a lawful character than it does to a neutral character, which I believe also has a % chance of evading that status effect of fear. But if you run a chaos character, they are immune to anything dark related. Like in terms of, you cannot put them to sleep with a dark spell. You cannot charm them with a dark spell. You cannot cause them to fear because they are chaotic aligned. Which is kind of weird, but not really. I mean, I kind of get it because you're running black magic or dark magic as a Terror Knight, and the fact that that doesn't work against an entire alignment of characters is not at all surprising to me. At the same time, I find it really bizarre that they are 100% immune based on their alignment only. So you might say, well, Chris, what lawful benefit do you have? Well, lawful characters apparently do better with white magic, which of course is its opposition. So a lawful character does better healing, receives better buffs, you know, than a neutral character. And a chaotic character generally doesn't receive very good healing, if at all. Well, it does receive healing, but it receives, I don't know. It's not as much as a lawful character would, okay? And they're better healers. And I don't know if they get better stats or something. I don't know. There's some offsetting thing that was at least in the PSP version under alignment that may or may not still be in this game. I'm not 100% sure. But in addition to all that, a lawful character will stick with you until their loyalty is in... Well, they'll warn you when they're at 5 loyalty, which means low loyalty. And when they hit 0 loyalty, they'll leave. Whereas a neutral character, you have to add 5% onto that. So at 10%, they're warning you that they're going to leave. And at 5%, they actually do leave. But a chaotic character will warn you at 15% and will leave at 10. So I like take that for what it's worth. I know you can control, there's a way to easily control their loyalty, which is sort of feels backwards to me, but apparently it works, which is basically the more of a particular race of people, whether that be Wallister, Galgastani, or there's a third one, Balmamusa? No, not Balmamusa, that's the name of the city. There's a third race in there. There's Wallisters, there's the Galgastani, and there's another one. I think they begin with a B. I could be wrong. But each one of those group of people can be recruited. Okay. Now early on, you're going to get mainly Wallister characters, and as you move throughout your different campaigns, it may switch over to Galgastani or the other third major race in this area.
This could have gone better. We withdraw for now.
See you later, Vice.
No going back to Ashton Denham. Your route is cut off. There's nowhere to run. And no surrendering either. I'll kill you with my own hands.
So, because we're on this chaotic path, we can't go back to the way we came. We have to just keep pushing forward, which unfortunately leads us into another battle, though the battle's not that difficult.
Leave Ice. Coward! I'll chase you to the ends of the earth. You'll never escape what you did in Balmamusa. Denham, you were right. I owe you an apology.
An apology.
My life remains yours to do with as you will.
So she's going to join my clan.
We should withdraw before they receive reinforcement. Fall back to Chrysoro.
Hooray! Alright, we're going to cut the episode here in just a second. When we come back, we're going to Chrysaros, which will lead us into a different set of problems, as you might expect.